Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the BroncCast, the official Cal Poly Pomona Athletics podcast. I am your host, Tyler LOBE, the Assistant Athletics Director for Communications here at CPP. This week's podcast features members of the CPP men's and women's cross-country teams. I sit down with head coach Chris Bradford and 4 of his student athletes to talk about their love for running, their experience and perspectives before, during, and after a cross-country race, how academics come to the forefront during this pandemic, and of course, some more rapid-fire fun. Here it is, episode 3 of the BroncCast. All right, members of the cross-country team, welcome to the BroncCast. First off, I'm going to have head coach Chris Bradford introduce himself. So
Hi, my name's Chris Bradford. Excited to be here. Starting my 4th year at Cal Poly Pomona. I was born and raised just outside Chicago, Illinois, in a town called Elmhurst. Ended up going to undergraduate at Elmhurst College. It's been changed now to Elmhurst University. Competed on the track team there and a little bit on the cross team. I went on, started my coaching career at the high school level for 1 year, Chicago area, but then started my collegiate career at Augustana University in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I was there for 6 years as assistant coach for cross country and track. Moved on to Western State College of Colorado, which went to Western State, I don't know. They changed the name like 4 times. It's Western Colorado.
A lot of name changes.
Yeah, a lot of name changes that we've been going on. But I was there for 8 years as a head track coach, and then now moved over here as a head cross country and track coach. Been moving west and been moving toward warmer weather. And so really enjoying my time here.
So that was Gunnison West, right? Gunnison West University.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's
Okay.
It's new every week, but I had a great time there. Really got the opportunity to be a head coach and learned a lot and taken a lot of those lessons here to Cal Poly Pomona.
I'm Jeremiah Suzara. I'm a 4th year here, just still kind of weird because I feel like I just got here. I'm a biology major. I'm from San Diego. I live 2 miles from Nick's house. And after I graduate, I hope to work in the lab and also continue running, because running, even though it's torture, it's still kind of fun.
I'm glad you said that, because that's going to be a question coming up. All right, Nick.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Albro. I'm a 3rd year at Cal Poly. I'm a kinesiology major, and my hometown was Japan. I lived there for 13 years. I'm a military brat, and then now I live 2 miles away from Jeremiah in San Diego. I got my butt kicked by him all of high school. And hopefully what I'm going to be able to do after college is do something with running, maybe coaching. If I get good enough, maybe run at the professional level. I just want to stay connected with the sport because it's my passion for a long time. So,
All right. Luz.
Hi, my name is Luz Garcia, and I'm a 3rd year psychology major. I'm from Northridge, California, and after college, I would like to continue with psychology and hopefully master in clinical psychology to be a clinical psychologist in the future. And like everyone else said, I would also like to keep running in my life, either as in a professional level or also coaching.
All right. And Svetlana.
Hi, my name is Svetlana. I'm a 3rd year. My major is English, and what I'm hoping to do after college is to become a teacher, as well as a coach, possibly. And then I live in Rancho Cucamonga, so.
Great. Well, thank you for being here once again. Looking forward to this podcast. Okay. I will say that I hated elementary school PE. Every week, every month that we had to run the mile test. And then throughout PE in middle school and high school or playing sports, the worst part about practice was going to run a couple laps. And I understand I'm in the minority for this because, well, maybe I'm not, based on what you guys are saying about running. What is it about running and especially running for an intercollegiate team that you enjoy? And I'll start with anybody.
I would say the challenges that come with it, especially the competition, because that's what we're working for, is that competition is like, how can we better ourselves and how can we improve to the next level? Everyone here has a running story as to why they started running. So I started out, it was a punishment. I was in soccer and my coach was like, run a lap. And I was like, okay, can I go again? And he was like, okay.
Interesting.
But it's that mental challenge and that push for betterness and strive.
If it wasn't that challenging, it wouldn't be as rewarding at the end. Like if it was too easy, you'd probably get tired of it after like 6 months of doing it. But after like all like the months work you're doing it and you go into the races and you put the work in, you see the results, it's worth it at the end. It's worth all the pain.
I would say
Yeah. All right, Luz, you could go.
I would say the same as Svetlana. I would like to agree with that because I also I didn't start off running. I was a soccer player back in high school, and my coach would punish us by running. And then it would be like, oh, go run a few laps. You didn't come on time to practice, so go ahead and run a few laps. And overall, I didn't really think that was a problem. And then all of a sudden, he was like, hey, you should join cross country. It seems like you really like running. So that's how my story began.
Yeah, and my story began probably in middle school because my dad ran a lot. And he told me, he was like, I think you'll be quick enough one day to break 4. And then that's just kind of been my motivation ever since. And in middle school, I'm not going to lie, if you were fast, you're pretty popular. Everyone liked you if you were fast, not going to lie, in middle school. Everything changed up in high school, but yeah. I also like the intensity of it. It's definitely on another level compared to other sports. And I think it's also a good stress reliever just to go out and run with your friends.
So would you guys say it's more challenging and difficult just personally to run by yourselves and try and, beat a certain time? Or is it that running in a race against other competitors that you really enjoy? Or do you just enjoy both?
I enjoy competing because when you're on your own, it's fun, but also after all, it gets kind of boring when you're running on your own. But when you have people around you and you start getting tired, you see someone passing you, you're thinking in your head, well, I may be dead, but I'm not letting that guy beat me. So I don't know, that edge is kind of like an adrenaline rush. I love it.
Yeah, it's also kind of like a battle of egos. Because at the end of the day, when you race someone, they've put just as much effort as you did into the sport. And it's pretty much who worked the hardest and who was able to put more time into taking care of themselves kind of wins. So, yeah.
I would go off of what Nick just said too, but it's also the mental toughness too, because you're running these miles and endlessly, especially in the heat, because cross country season in the hot weather. But I would say what Nick just said is pretty accurate with on top of the mental push, because in that last 100 meters, it's either you're going for it, you see that person right there with you, you're either going to let them go or you're going to surpass them. So it's also just a mental sport too.
Yeah, I would like to say that the feeling of when you get past, I think nothing beats that, because honestly, I just get so pissed off sometimes that I just find that extra gear in my legs to just go.
Now, I don't know if you had something to add to that, Chris, but did you? No. Okay.
No, go ahead.
So when I worked at Sonoma State, we hosted the Sonoma State Invitational, and we had, bunch of schools come in and race, just like you would any other race down here. And I actually was the one, and I'm kind of nerdy of me, I guess. I'm the one who shot off the gun, and our budget wasn't very high. So not only was I shooting the gun, but I was pressing the start, pretty much a stopwatch to run this collegiate race. But not only was I doing that, I was at the end and helping my other students that were helping run this race ripping the bib numbers off of the competitors coming into the chutes. And I quickly realized not only am I just trying to get these numbers, I'm serving as somebody who they're falling into because they are so exhausted and tired that I start to think, why would you want to put yourself through that and to be like completely incoherent at the end of a race? I mean, how enjoyable could that be? But then again, I get it. It's the whole competitive spirit of that. Am I on the right path here?
You know,
Yeah.
I think it's one of the great things about this sport is it's how far can you push your limits, like every single race, and training yourself to get to that point. There's very few other sports where it's so singularly focused and so like just all in. And that's why people are collapsing, because they're figuring out what their limits are at the finish line. And I think everybody who may think cross country is this or that, like they need to stand at a finish line or be that person who's tearing bibs off. I think you get a completely different appreciation for the sport when you see these people cross the finish line, given every single thing that they can possibly give, and they're out. You know what I mean? They have to be dragged to the medical tent. And it's not just one person at most races, it's 2 and 3 and 5 and 10. And it's something that's really special about this sport and these student athletes who do it. I think it's one of the cool things for me.
Yeah, those
Anyone else
first
want to hop in
10
on that?
minutes after a race aren't really that fun. Like, you look like a zombie. Like, you feel like you're heading toward the light. But, like, after you get out of that trance, I think the best feeling is, like, when you're on your way home with, like, your teammates and you see, like, all the times you've done, how well you've placed. It's worth it at the end. It's worth the 10 minutes of, like, pain, torture, and, like, rushing to the ER sometimes at the end of a race is all worth it when, like, you look back at it and you're like, well, I still ran good that day. We all ran good that day.
You know, I went to the national race in Pittsburgh. I didn't make it to the one in Sacramento this past year, but I was really impressed with how coordinated that meet was. During the regular season, you're going to schools that have limited budgets and don't have as many people at the end to help out in the chutes with those runners that are finishing. But then you go to the national meet that's run by the NCAA. I was so shocked and impressed with how many people they had in the chutes and how many blankets that they had ready to, put on the student athletes. It was, and if nobody's been to a cross country race, I encourage them to go because it's very exciting, especially at the end. Cause you see 2 runners coming in same time, they're giving all they got. And that's the most inspiring thing of all this. So I know it doesn't look, from the outsider's perspective, it doesn't look like it's very much fun, but I completely understand. It's impressive.
And Tyler, I think you picked one of the most unique national championships ever out in Pittsburgh. And I'd like to let Jeremiah talk about that a little bit, because he actually raced out there, and what a crazy championship that was with the weather. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I know, Tyler, you said it didn't look that much fun from the outside, but like that first mile from the inside, like it looked like literally like running into like a war zone battle of like World War II. Like I'm running, I look to my left, I see like 5 people fall. I look to my right, there's more people falling. I look ahead of me, I have a hurdle. I legit hurdle a guy. I think I stepped on him, but he should be okay. I think everyone made it out of that. But like I didn't run like the fastest time that day since it was like so rainy or muddy, but that was probably like hands down like my favorite collegiate race ever.
Well, that had to have been one of the most hilliest races, especially as muddy as it was and wet as it was. I mean, that couldn't have been an easy course at all.
That was not an easy course. Like after the race, I have like a picture of my shoes. There was like legit like a foot of mud underneath. I was like, I don't know. It looked like I had like dumbbells on my feet. I don't know how I raced that for the last like couple miles of the race.
That was in all my time being at cross country meets, that may have been the most difficult conditions that I've ever seen students run in, like snow and mud and hills and narrow areas, and they had to recall the start on the men's race because of people getting trampled, as Jeremiah said, and so if you look at times, they were very slow because it was very difficult, but looking back, I can be positive about it and say it was quite the experience. At the time, it was tough to watch.
Well, there was something else that was going on too within the team, which I'm going to get to. So
Okay.
We won't even mention it right now. So we'll put that on hold. Chris, not to put you on the spot, but do you run with them during training? So normally we're on campus, we're training, getting ready for upcoming meets. Do you just send them out and say, go run 5 miles, come back? Do you run with them? Do you give them direction? How do you structure your practices?
Well, we give them quite a bit of instruction, but there is zero chance that I run with them. They are way too fast. I could not keep up. But that is also why Coach Ashford's part of the program. Coach Ashford goes out and drops the hammer on them every day, makes them work for it. So he's the one out there running with them. So I think we get best of both worlds. I'm there kind of waiting for them when they come back, and Coach Ashford's out there with them. So, but the way we structure practices is, we've got different routes around campus. I think that's one of the great things about Cal Poly Pomona is we've got a lot of trails and areas to run near campus. And so, we come up with a route, where they're running that day, or if we're doing a workout where they're going to warm up before they come back for a workout. And then, generally Coach Ashford's out there with them. We also have some, program associates who will run with them as well and help out with training there. But I got a lot of help to make sure that they're monitored and they're doing what they're supposed to. But the other part is these guys are internally motivated. They're going to go out and get their work done, whether we're there watching or not. Just like now, you know what I mean? We're all at home and we're all training on our own, and they're out getting their work done. We're confident in that.
You mentioned Coach Ashford, and I don't want to highlight his age here, but I'm going to. I was going through all the record books because I've rebuilt the entire record book for both men's and women's cross country here at Cal Poly Pomona. And if you haven't seen it, it's on our website. I went through the file cabinet, and I think it was and you can help me out, Chris, 1980, possibly.
Sounds about right.
Where I saw that Cal Poly Pomona had hosted a race during the fall, and at the top of the results list, winning the race was Coach Ashford, and he was running for Claremont or
Track club, probably.
Yeah. And he won the race, and this was back in 1980. And that was pretty incredible, being that now he's here. As a stats nerd, that was very intriguing to me, but yeah, he has, he was in college back in 1980, but he is probably as young as probably younger than me when it comes to legs and endurance. It's incredible.
The guy has absolutely found the fountain of youth. He is one impressive guy. We're really lucky to have him. I think he was out of college by then. I think, because he went to college at BYU. He's been an amazing runner his whole career. If you go back and look at his times, like, they are top notch, world class. And he continues to run and continues to challenge our kids and motivate them and give a great example every day of what running is, and how it can be part of your life. You heard our guys and girls talking about running beyond college. Every one of them wants running to be part of their life long term. And I think that's fairly common with runners, but I think Coach Ashford does an amazing job setting the example and showing them the path for that. So really, really lucky to have him be part of the program. And, yeah, I'm not surprised he was winning races. I think he's backed off some races now, but I would, I'd love to see him out there racing. Like I think he'd give a couple of our kids a run for their money, but that's a good thing.
That's awesome. All right, this question is for Nick and Jeremiah. Both of you earned all region honors last fall for your top 25 finish in the NCAA Division II West Regional in Oregon. Out there competing against 100 other guys on a course and a climate that you're not completely accustomed to. How difficult is it to place up there among the top runners in a race like that?
It took a little bit of time to get so cold. And like 50-degree weather over here is no different than running in 50-degree weather in Oregon. Outside of the fact that we have a good amount of LA smog that's built our lungs to another level. But it was a little different for sure. But I don't think it was too difficult because I have awesome teammates, if I was being honest, and to be able to group up and run well and run as a team. So I don't think it was too much different from any other race that we ran.
So you're saying that it's harder to run in clean air than it is in the smoggy air of the LA area.
Home field advantage.
Yeah, I get that.
Also, I think it may be cold at the start, but like once the race starts, like I ran in colder weather, like once the race starts, like your mind's just off the weather. You're just focusing on like, am I going to beat this guy in front of me? How well am I going to finish? So then you start feeling how cold it is after the race, but like that half an hour interval in between, like your mind just like shuts off. It's like a switch. You're just in running mode.
Yeah, because 2 years ago, you guys were up in Montana, and I believe there was snow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was snow.
That was a fun trip. Probably about half the team had never seen snow or hadn't seen snow in years. I think the temperature was somewhere around 15 degrees at the start of the race. But men and women had a great race. I mean, it just shows kind of the toughness mentally that we can have, and you don't have to train in snow or cold weather to succeed in it. So they worked really hard at that, and so it's part of the training we do, talking about preparing for championship races. And again, Coach Ashford got them ready to run really well both of those races, both in Oregon and in Montana.
Luz, you were also an all-region performer last year at the Division II West Regional. You were one of only 12 women's cross-country student athletes at Cal Poly Pomona to earn all-region honors. That's incredible.
Thank you.
You lead the team with a 13th place finish out of 187 runners. Not to mention you shattered the program record for the best time in a regional race. And you did that 6-kilometer course in 21 minutes, 8 seconds. Take me through that race, what you saw, how you felt, and what are the highs and lows of that 21-minute run?
I think that race for me was a lot more special than I thought it would have, because I went in with a minor injury. Well, I thought it was minor because I'm the type of athlete to ignore injuries until they get really bad. So I went into that race kind of ignoring it, just went with the flow, got out really quick. Luckily, I had my teammate, Elizabeth, we've been running like 1-2 all season long. So it was really comforting seeing her through the majority of the race. Probably like maybe 1K to go, all the other girls in the race just switched gears. So I told myself, I was like, all right, well, it's time to go. Like, you have to go now or you're going to get passed here in the last kilometer. So the second that I made that switch in gears, I was dealing with plantar fasciitis at the time. And the second I put a lot more pressure on my foot, I felt it like snap. And I was like, well, I have 1K to go. So I ended up just running on that, and it was pure heart at the end. It was like, it was a bittersweet moment for me.
Wow. Incredible. Well, congratulations. I mean, that's inspiring. That's phenomenal. Jeremiah, 2019 championship scholar at the CCA conference meet. You were the runner out of 86 competitors with the highest grade point average. And then you move on and you score a 4.0 grade point average last fall, a 4.0 grade point average in the spring, and now you have an overall GPA of 3.94. That's awesome. Good work.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I had to contact our assistant AD for student services, Scott Suji, to make sure I had that statistic right. 3.94 GPA. First off, congratulations. Secondly, I know it's not easy to juggle academics and athletics. It's not easy for any student athletes.
No, it's not.
How have you been able to manage it pretty well? What's your secret?
Well, like the secret, like even if you're not in the sport, just like time management, like I still like play video games, watch movies, go out with my friends, but I try getting all my work done ahead of time before that. And like even when we miss classes for meets, like when we're traveling on a plane or we're in a car, I'm still studying, doing work. Like I don't want to save everything till like the last second, homework till the last second, studying till the last second. I find if you just like study periodically throughout like every day, and you should be able to get good grades in school, even if you have like a lot of time set aside for running. Like running shouldn't be an interference with your grades.
I'm going to keep replaying that over and over again. I'm going to have our department staff members just clip that part out and just send it to the rest of the student athletes, because that's awesome. The way the mindset you have, well done.
Thank you.
All right. So this next question, I'm going to start with Svetlana. What is your favorite pre-race food or meal?
Wow. I usually like to go with just something light. Like for breakfast, I'll have like a cup of orange juice and a banana. I don't really, the coaches will probably not like me for saying this, but I like to run on an empty stomach and then just fuel up right after. But if I have to eat something, it will be an apple or a banana and just get going.
Comments, Chris?
We're going to have Svetlana meet with Rum Malasarn and work on some nutrition tactics before her first race for the Broncos.
Maybe have 2 bananas. That'll get you run maybe a second or 2 faster.
Yeah.
I am taking a nutrition class, coach, so I'm getting there.
I love it.
All right. Anyone else? What's your favorite pre-race meal?
Liz, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I would agree with Svetlana. I'm more like her, where I'm used to like running on an empty stomach. I did that for the first year of my collegiate experience, and it didn't go very well. So second year, I switched things up, and now I have like a granola bar, a banana, something light, not too heavy, but still something enough to get me going.
Whatever you ate at the regional last year, I would suggest you do that again for the rest of your races. Nick, you were going to say something?
Yeah, we usually wake up like what Wes and Bradford wants us to do is wake up like 3 hours before the race. At least gives us some time to digest the food. And usually my go-to meals, a PB&J. A PB&J and maybe like a fruit, like a banana. I usually does it.
I feel like a PB&J.
PB&J's a PB&J's good. That gets me going in what I'm doing. I don't run, but it gets me going for other things. Jeremiah, what's your favorite pre-race meal?
Yeah, PB&J is my pre-race meal. If you go to a hotel and they don't got a PB&J, I start tearing up a little bit, but that's usually my go-to. Like what the other people said, nothing too heavy. Usually you want to eat the heavy stuff the night before, so you just want to eat something light just so you have like something in your stomach so you're not like passing out halfway through the race.
People cry when there's no Wi-Fi at the hotel, but Jeremiah will cry if there's no peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's good.
I got my priorities set.
All right. What is the strangest thing to happen to any of you during a cross-country race.
Ooh.
The strangest thing. And anyone can start with that.
I had in high school gone to like the Nike Nationals up in Oregon, and they had shot the gun. I mean, it's like a totally, like being in Oregon is totally different because like the weather's colder, it's muddy, and they had, I mean, it was muddy. It was the first time running in like actual mud for me, and they shot the gun, and we all go, and this girl shoves me into like a pole where they have like the alley where like you don't go past this. And I had hopped over that pole and hit my stomach, and I fell to the ground, but I got up and kept running. So.
And they didn't call you guys back. They just
No,
said, go.
no, it was past that point, but it was like that
Oh,
point.
okay.
Okay, you're fine. Just keep going. So.
I think the strangest race for me was last year. One of my teammates, I'm not going to use his real name, so I'm going to call him Al. He was leading the race. Then all of a sudden, he like veered off the course. And it was funny because I was running next to like one of my other teammates and like two other people from other teams. We kind of gave each other this look. Like we're like already like 80% through the way in the race. We all looked at each other and we're all thinking the same thing. Like, is he going the right way or are we going the right way? Then we just followed the cones and we're like, oh, he's totally going the wrong way. So, yeah, he still plays really good, but like that was the most confusing 20 seconds of my life because I was thinking like, am I going the right way still? Am I still on the course?
Loose.
Yeah, for me, it was a similar experience to Jeremiah. Same race, actually. And me and my teammate were also very confused because the first few girls took off the wrong way as well. And we didn't know if we were going the right way either. So I feel like that race, we had a full-on conversation, like the second mile, about where we were going.
My advice is just follow the bike. The guy on the bike, follow that guy. He's pretty good usually.
There was one, that was the only race I've ever been to without a bike. They just said, fend for yourselves.
Well, there you
That
go.
race didn't turn out so well for us.
Makes sense.
I think my weirdest occurrence is probably in high school. I had a pair of flats that just gave me bad vibes. And I was racing Jeremiah.
I know what this
CIF,
is. I remember this.
and I had these laces. And they both came off with the first 400. And a previous race before that, I was in a Clovis. It was kind of a big invitational for California. And the gun jumped and 100 meters in, the same flats, both of them came off my feet. So I had to stop, put it back on, and then start my race. And I was like 100 meters behind everyone. Like by the end of the season, I threw those flats out. But that's probably my weirdest thing that happened.
They came untied like the first like half mile of that high school race.
Yeah, I was so mad.
I remember looking down. I'm like, oh.
So mad.
All right. So in all your years of running, what is the furthest you have gone in one workout or one race? I would assume maybe marathon, but I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it's I ran the LA Marathon when I was an eighth grader. So that was about 24 miles for me was my max so far in one go.
That's crazy.
I knew my
That's
mind would be
insane.
blown asking that question. And can anyone else top that?
I mean,
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to the next question. Outside of intercollegiate athletics, besides obviously you always want to run in the national championship, what is the one race you want to compete in one day that you haven't already competed in?
I want to compete in the Olympic trials for the 1500 or the steeplechase one day. That's gonna be my like big moment. If I'm able to race that, then my running career is pretty much complete.
I would say the same thing because if I can run like the mile, the 800 in a track program in the USA track and field or the Olympics, like that's you've reached your goal, and then just continue to push through that goal for the next whatever you can get.
I think for me, it would be similar to theirs. At the big level, probably the marathon. Probably crazy, but it's fine. I'm known for being pretty crazy.
Now there is a race. I think it's the Ironman. Would you do the Ironman, where you do like 100 miles of biking, 2 miles of swimming, and then run an entire marathon afterwards?
I'd do it.
I do it too, but I just gotta learn how to swim first.
All right, I got you. I'm a lifeguard. Let's go. Let's do it together. I'm not lying.
I'm down.
Jeremiah, what about you?
I'll go a bit unorthodox just so it isn't the same answer. I want to do the downhill mile one day because that looks kind of fun, just people sprinting down the hill as fast as they can. I'd probably fall because I fall when I'm just walking like the class, but I don't know, just like going a mile full speed with like gravity on your side, it just seems like so much fun.
All right, so now that we're into this whole COVID-19 situation, obviously none of us really wanted to be in this situation. It's a whole new world for all of us. You guys have started classes online. Now it's been announced that you will be doing mostly online classes in the spring. That's got to be tough for anybody, not just student athletes, but just students in general. How have you guys been able to pivot to having classes in person to classes online? I would guess online's maybe a little easier, but maybe it's not. I don't know. What's your thoughts and opinions on doing classes online?
I would say it's pretty much, I mean, not the same. Like, yes, it's like, you know, you're stuck at home and stuff. You don't get to go out much. But I think it's the same aspect of just the basic classroom. Like, do your homework, do your tasks, get things done. Like, it's not too bad. That's why we go out and run. That's our way of getting out.
It's a bit hit or misses depending on the classes. Like some classes, they can be online. Like you still get the same learning experience, but some classes that require like a bit of like hands-on work, like labs and like engineers, like you can still have a class online, but you can't really replicate like the hands-on aspect of it.
I think a lot of us runners, especially with the transition online, are probably struggling with, having to sit for so long and then getting up and then having to go for a run over, like, at least for me, like my legs feel pretty trashed when I come out of a class and then go for a run. So I'm pretty sure most of us are dealing with that right now.
Now, Svetlana, you're a newcomer. I mean, this can't be easy at all. I mean, I don't know if you've even met your new teammates in person other than just seeing them here on a Zoom meeting. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It is very tough. Like the first 2 weeks, I was missing I missed a few assignments, but like trying to transition from like one different system from a community college level to this Blackboard. I'm like, I can't find these assignments. Like, where is it? And like, it's a struggle, but you know, when you get the hang of things, it kind of comes in your own rhythm. It's like running. You that first mile, you find your rhythm. So.
Right. So like Luz was talking about earlier, like Cal Poly is kind of a big campus. So we did a good amount of walking, like going to classes and stuff. Like I'd record like how much I walked, and it kind of like go up to like 3 or 4 miles, depending on like if I'm walking from building 1 all the way to the gym or something, you know. So I think with online classes, it's kind of easier on your legs, but it's a little harder just because you gotta be more like self-accountable about your grades and doing the right thing. Just make sure you're not skipping class and actually attending all your classes and stuff. It's a little bit harder, but I think it's a different way of learning. It's a different challenge. Yeah.
So to keep up with your endurance and everything, you just got to do some extra runs during the day to account for all those missed steps that you would take to a class.
Yeah, because with the online classes, I don't walk at all anymore. So I throw in a good amount of doubles now, like running twice a day. Just keep it up. So.
All right, going back to Luce, in your bio, you noted that you had 13 years of perfect school attendance. You never once got sick. I mean, I know that I was sick sometimes. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
I remember I did end up getting sick a few times during my school years, but it would usually be on the weekend, which is kind of funny. So by Monday, I would be ready to go back to school. And I don't know, I just like, especially my mom would always encourage me to like always go to school, never miss. So I just got in a rhythm of just never missing school.
And you listed your favorite movie as Gravity. Has anyone else seen this movie, by the way? Anyone else seen the movie Gravity? It's with Sandra Bullock, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Is that the one with George Clooney? Where George Clooney dies? Oh, spoiler alert, he dies. But
is George Clooney in that one too? What I remember from that movie, nobody talks, right? There's not a word said in that whole thing, except maybe some communications you hear from like NASA. Or am I like thinking about the entire wrong movie?
No, yeah, that movie does have talking.
It's okay.
It's just very limited though.
Very
like
limited.
It's just probably the Sandra Bullock talking.
What I think, and this is a spoiler alert, so if anyone who's watching this have never seen Gravity before, I think you should. The most impactful thing, because you kind of wonder, okay, what is the point of this movie? And at the end of the movie, when she lands and she's on land, you almost feel like that there's about like 10,000 pounds of weight on you, because you see her floating in the air for an hour and a half, and then all of a sudden she's on land. You almost feel that. Did anyone else feel that when they watched that?
I almost threw up, actually.
That it was, yeah. I don't doubt that, because that was just an out of body feeling. I was like, there's no way a movie can do that to me. I thought maybe I was the only one who did that, so I'm glad you say that.
I don't know why they called the movie Gravity when like 99% of the movies takes place with no gravity.
Well, that's the point of it, though. At the end of the movie, when all of a sudden she hits ground and she's feeling that gravity, now I get why it was named Gravity and why it was such a great movie. I mean, I would watch that movie again just to get that feeling, because it wasn't really that exciting throughout the movie, but now I understand how great of a movie that was just because of that feeling. I mean, Hollywood's pretty amazing the way they do that. Chris, have you seen that? You need to see it.
It's been a while.
Okay, you have seen it. Okay. Now, Nick and Svetlana, both of you list your favorite TV show as Friends.
Yeah.
So you guys are new besties. You guys should have some like watch
All
parties.
right, Netflix, let's go.
Friends. That was what, 20 years ago? And that's still your guys' favorite show. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a cool show. I was on the border of, Office and Friends.
Oh, what the heck? Same. I was even put Office.
Besties.
Yeah.
Here we go. We just made you guys just made
I was
a connection
pretty
right
basic. So
What's your favorite?
yeah, best friends now.
there. You guys get on Zoom and have some Netflix watch parties. That'll be fun. Okay. We've got a couple minutes left, and we're going to wrap this up with some rapid fire, just as we do with all of the other podcasts that we do. And I'm going to shout out this, pretty much this or that, and let you guys think about it. And then you guys will go ahead and answer the first thing that comes to mind. So one right after another, just go ahead and blurt out what your thoughts on each of these this or that questions or other questions I ask. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
All right. Favorite summer activity?
Running. I know it's basic.
Surfing, for sure, hands down.
Surfing or volleyball?
Running for me.
I think I'm running or hiking.
Book or movie?
Oh, so many to choose. Dark Knight.
No, I'm about to say, just say book. Would you rather read a book?
Oh, okay.
Or
Okay.
watch a movie? Because usually movies are made off books, but would you rather read it or would you watch it, or just book or movie in general?
Movie.
I would go with book.
Can't go wrong with it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Jeremiah on this one.
I'm going with Svetlana, book.
I want to say book, but I'm going to be honest and say movie.
Same here. Definitely the movie. And I think one of I think it's AT&T commercial. If you want to read it, you just turn on the closed captioning, and there you go. You got movie and book, right? Yeah. There you go.
Boys are so simple.
LOBE. That's crazy.
My wife would say the same thing too. Frozen yogurt or ice cream?
Frozen yogurt.
Yeah, frozen yogurt.
Frozen yogurt.
Ice cream.
Good old fashioned ice cream.
Okay. Last thing you watched on Netflix?
I think it was Tiger King.
I watched some Carol Baskin on the Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, she's on it? No,
She
I gotta
is.
watch that now.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch it.
This anime called The Land of the Sea.
I watched this anime called Banana Fish.
I was kind of late on the party, but I watched Frozen 2.
With two kids, ages 4 and 2, Frozen is on over and 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 over again. It's amazing.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I have siblings, and my little brother and little sister watched Frozen like 30 times when it first came out.
So if you ever want to come over and
Not the
watch
greatest
Frozen,
experience.
you guys all have an invitation because I'm sure it's on the TV right now.
I'm good.
Chris.
I think I watched Community.
Okay. What is something you can't do that most people can?
Walk in a straight line.
I don't know. I have to think about this one. Come back to me.
Okay. Nick,
Wait, what was the question again?
what is something you can't do that most people can?
Good essay writing. Not the best at writing essays. I'm gonna have to be honest on this one.
Yeah, I figured this might be a hard one. Yeah. If you don't know, just go ahead and pass.
Yeah, I'm passing.
I want to say like patience, like just like staying in one spot, because most people can sit longer, and then I'm like, all right, I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like at dinner, I can just not sit there for too long. People can just linger around for hours, sitting at a table eating. I'm like, I want to go. Like, let's eat.
Time
and
to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
I think speak a foreign language. I can't. I tried.
What did you speak in high school, Coach?
I did very poorly in high school. I studied for it, and it still didn't work.
Yeah, I took 3 years of Spanish, and I really, all I got is como estás. I mean, that's really all yeah. Let's see. McDonald's or Noodles and Company in Pittsburgh?
Oh, okay. That's a really close one, but the Travis Scott burger, so we got to go McDonald's.
I am an absolute anti-McDonald's person, so I'll go with the Pittsburgh one.
I wouldn't go with that one. I wouldn't go with that one.
Okay,
I know
so,
some.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because
one.
that was a trick question, and that's what I wanted to end with. And what I said at the beginning of the podcast is that is where I think that's where Chris, go ahead with the story.
Well, it's a rumor that is false.
Okay.
I mean, like the guys made that up, but in Pittsburgh in 2018, I guess, we went to NCAA cross, and unfortunately, in the 2 days leading up to the race, almost the entire team got stomach flu. A couple of guys claimed it was food poisoning that they got at a certain restaurant in Pittsburgh.
It's not a claim if it's a fact.
Other than the fact that others ate there and didn't get sick. But
It's a conspiracy.
it's a conspiracy. But anyway, yeah, we had 8 guys that we brought, including an alternate, and thank goodness we brought an alternate. We only had 5 guys finish the race. We had 1 guy in the hospital. I think out of the 5 that finished the race, 3 of those were pretty severely sick as well. It was a rough day. I'll be honest. It was a rough day. We had a good group that day and didn't finish how we should have. But if we could, if it makes us feel better to blame Noodles and Company in Pittsburgh, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
So yeah, Svetlana, that was a trick question. I'm sorry you were brought into that.
You
So knowing that, what would you choose, McDonald's or Noodles and Thing, Noodles Company?
Oh,
and
I
things?
choose McDonald's.
Yeah, there you go. Just go get like a milkshake or something.
The
All right,
orange McDonald's are good.
final question. What are you doing on November 3rd?
Rhymes with boat.
That's good.
Voting.
True. Good old voting.
Very good.
Yeah, I agree with everyone else.
Actually, I registered yesterday to be an election worker because we've got, we're working from home. And so I figured I could take a day and maybe help out with actually run one of the polls.
Ooh,
I can't imagine that the state of California or anyone in our department would make you take a day off for that. I mean, I as important as it is for everybody to vote, and then of course people need to be there to help out with the vote. I mean, that's good. I think more people should sign up to do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm gonna go to whatever poll you're working at, Coach.
To make sure that ballot gets submitted correctly, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that was the BroncCast. Thank you everybody for being with me. Cross country head coach Chris Bradford, junior Luis Garcia, junior Svetlana Martin, senior Jeremiah Suzara, and sophomore Nick Albro of the CPP men's and women's cross country team. Thanks for being with me.
All right. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks for having us.
That'll do it for episode 3 of the BroncCast. For new episodes of the BroncCast each week, make sure to visit our website at broncoathletics.com/podcast and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at our handle CPP Broncos. Weekly podcasts are also available for free download on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, and TuneIn. For everybody in the CPP Department of Intercollegiate Athletics, I'm Tyler LOBE, encouraging you to make it a great day, reminding you that Black Lives Matter, and be sure to rock the vote on November 3rd. As always, go green, go gold, go Broncos.